I had a question.
Yeah.
Why do you call him Jimmer?
Because I don't know. I don't know. It just stuck. I call him a lot of things.
But was that like a cute little
Jimmy.
came up when you were a kid?
No, his name was Jimmy. James. But there's like Jim Carrey,
Yep.
James Carrey. So I was like Jimmer because I'm Chinese. You had to have the R.
Oh.
Hello, people. Jimmer. So I go Jimmer.
You started doing that when you were a kid?
Shoot. I don't know. When was that, Jimmer?
Man, that started probably in 1995.
When I was like 6 years old, when I was a kid.
Oh, you was a kid.
Yeah, Jimmer.
Yeah, and I would hate that. I would just be like,
I would clown him a lot.
Yeah.
I clown my brother all the time, dude. Till this day.
Let's kick it off. Start the intro.
What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 6 of Unlearned Wisdom with yours truly, Johnny Chang. Today we have a very special guest, very dear to my heart. A lot of you guys know who he is. His name is James, a.k.a. James Chang. Yeah.
First guess.
You did a magic trick. You guys missed it.
you guys missed it.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in, man. I really am honored and grateful to be on this podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you, little big brother.
Big brother's great.
Yeah. Wait. How old? What's the age gap?
What is it, 18 months? He's 30. How old are you, Jim?
Yeah, I'm 36. I'm going my 37th year. Yes.
He's like he almost threw up saying that. He's like 30. Yeah,
Wow, you guys are close in age then.
I'm 35. He's born on July 1st?
The first.
Yeah,
Whoa.
November 1st.
Wow, that's kind of cool too.
Yeah,
What?
one
Weird.
ones. Yeah,
Wow.
ones.
Nice. But I mean, were you guys let's start it off.
Let's think about this. What was our childhood like? What was your childhood? People
Yes.
know my childhood. What was your childhood, Jimmer?
Our childhood, I would say, was like a roller coaster. I would explain it up and down. Very, very happy moments, and then really dark and sad moments. But I wanted to share a story about our childhood. In particularly, I can remember vividly. One day we were playing, I don't know if you guys know this game. It's on PlayStation 1. It's called WWF Warzone. I will always beat my brother in the game. So this one time, he almost got the best of me. But I came back with that Stone Cold Stunner, for those of you that know. And he didn't take it lightly. And he broke the PlayStation 1. And I was like, ah! From that day forward, I was like, you are my worst enemy.
How old were you guys?
So I was about 6 years old. My brother was about 5'4"-ish around that time. Yeah.
From a young age, he was a sore loser.
I wouldn't say sore loser, but
Yeah, I was. It's
no,
okay.
he couldn't take the the L.
What's like your earliest memory of Johnny? Like when he was born and your parents said, hey, you're going to because you guys are so close in age. At what age were you like, oh, this is my little brother? And like, what was your feelings towards him?
The first time I knew he was my brother, unfortunately, I was in kindergarten. I remember my mother was holding him in her arms. We were at the restaurant. And back then, Power Rangers was very, very popular, And he came out in a Blue Ranger onesie, and I was jealous. I was majorly jealous. You don't understand, man. I was the Red Ranger, and he became the Blue Ranger out of nowhere. So yeah, that's when I knew that. He's my little brother.
What about you? Reverse the question.
Yeah, I knew from a young age. I was pretty intuitive, like at the age of 4 and 5. So I knew, okay, this is my brother. So my dad would always be like, you have to call him older brother, which is Gaga in Mandarin. And I was like, no. Yeah, I was like super like a bad kid.
Really? Just
Yeah.
as a baby, you were refusing. For what reason?
Bro, I don't know. I just was stubborn. My brother probably has stories of like me. I don't know if he told me this, but remember the story of me like blowing on the soup spoon, or mom blowing on the soup spoon?
Right.
Yeah. You want to tell that story?
I thought he was. She was blowing on it, and my brother would think like, oh. Why are you blowing it off the spoon? Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, dude, she's blowing on it. You stupid. Like, so it doesn't burn your mouth. Yeah. So he learned the hard way. He put it in his mouth. Ah!
Yeah. She used to like, how parents would blow the like for you, but I would be like, yeah, like I would get mad.
You want the food just right away.
Yeah. And I would think that she was eating it.
Yeah.
So I was super selfish like that, bro. And I was just a menace as a kid.
This was like last week? You were doing
Imagine,
this?
no, mom. I'm like 34, no. Give me food, I'm hungry. No. But yeah, this was when I was a kid, like 3-4 years old, probably.
So what was like your impression of your older brother though, right? Like
He was always a good kid. Like honestly, he would carry. I remember vivid memories of him carrying groceries for my parents. Like he would be really small. So he's like 5, 6 years old, and he would just walk and like my dad really liked my brother a lot. There's a story where like he legit tried to like not have me. He wanted just my brother. You remember that,
I
James?
remember that.
So there's a story where my mom jumped out the on ramp because my dad was on his way to abort me, basically. And my
Yeah.
mom was like, no, I want to boom. And when you look at my mom's knees, she has like all of these like scars because she scraped both of her knees like to the white meat, basically.
No
Yeah.
way.
And so, yeah.
True story, guys. Real facts.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. So he didn't, I was a oopsie baby. And then how I know was because then we had 2 more after us. And then my dad aborted them. So he was serious. So, but he always he would say stuff when I was younger, like, yeah, why can't you be like James, Because my brother was really good in terms of like he would fight and do all those things because we grew up in the projects, but like he would be good in his academics. Remember, Jeremy? He would do good. Honestly, he would listen. He would listen to my dad. He was close to my uncle, close to my dad, close to my mom. But like I was always the bad kid. Like there's stories of me stealing. My brother, you can tell stories.
I would tell you, yes, my brother is a thief. Okay, and he was a kleptomaniac.
Was a thief. Was
Okay, was a thief. That's still questionable, but yeah. So I remember this one story vividly. So we grew up in Alhambra, around the East LA area, Monterey Park area, and there was a particular pizza spot. No, it's not Shakey's, guys. Okay, this was like a different entity from that. Johnny, he was just a rascal, man. My mother would just like try to discipline him, and he was already keen. He was already smart at the age of like 4, So he's like, yeah, mom, you could beat me. Go ahead. And then he would go into the person and be like, you might have won the battle, mother, but you lost the war, and take $20, $50, $100. And you got to understand, 90s, the currency was like tenfold, man. It was worth that much, So I remember he stole $20 and he goes, hey, James, let's go to the Tavern Pizza place. I forgot the name, sorry. But I'm like, okay, you have money? I don't have any money. He's like, I got money. I was like, okay. I didn't question it because, very, very, very innocent. So we went and we were playing games. And I remember each time I play a game I would lose, I would just go home. He was like, no, play again. And I said, what? How? And he's like, I got you. And he slid me another $10. I'm like, bro, $10 to a 5-year-old child, to a 6-year-old child back then was like $100.
Yeah.
So ate pizza and all that. And then one day we got caught doing it, or he got caught first. Okay, I remember because he went home early from that pizza place, and I see my mom's Buick Regal just storming, and I see her like she had her hand reached over the vehicle right in the back seat, and she was just like slapping him up. And I'm like, oh, I'm next. So I like went to like an alleyway off the cut, and I ducked, and I just seen it like she just skid past me, and I was like, oh, I thought I was safe. And then I went back into our house, and then she whooped the hell out of us, man. I'll tell you that. That's yeah.
Yeah. My dad too, on top of that. So she beat us, and then my dad like broke a mop, like a mop stick, in 4 pieces. So he broke it in half, and he broke the half in half, basically.
Because he was hitting you so hard with it.
Yeah. And it was like, dude, I couldn't even stand. My brother was getting beat up too, but he got it less because I was the one who stole. And my mom knew. My mom knew it wasn't my brother who stole. Like, she knew right away, like, it was Johnny for sure, And
yes, guys, he was the active one. Yes.
What I'm curious to understand is like if your dad liked you, but like kind of who your dad was, an alcoholic, and he had that rage.
Yeah.
How did he treat you? Like what's your memories of your dad when you were younger?
I mean, obviously, in the Asian culture, the father is the head, right, of the family. He also he also had to discipline us, very tough. And being the older son, you're supposed to be an example, So when I messed up, I got it. I'll tell you straight up, I got it. And but also it built a lot of characteristics that I am today, that my father instilled in me. But also when it came to my brother, it would be the same amount of energy that he would put into his discipline as he did if it was me.
Because you said there was a lot of like highs and lows in your childhood. So like, what are your memories of growing up in the projects? You know, he's kind of explained what that experience was, being an outsider. Like, what was that for you?
So for me, yeah, it was like about the same thing. I remember this one memory where it was our first day of school. I was walking and just trying to make friends. I was always the get along friendly kid, you know? And then had I known that, I mean, what was going on, you know, amongst the mix, my brother was getting into this fight. First day of school, man.
How old are you? What?
I think it was 10th grade.
Fifth grade.
Okay.
Fifth grade,
So I was
yeah.
10.
Wow, elementary school?
Yeah.
First, what was it?
First
Yeah.
day at school, man. And my brother was like 9 years old.
What do you even have
know?
beef with on someone who's 9 years
I'll
old?
tell
He's able
you-
to explain it.
It is the greatest reason why, and I'll tell you why right now. It was over, guys. Brace yourselves, all right? WCW Payless shoes. I'm serious. And, you know, I mean, for those 90s kids, hey,
Yeah.
the WCW Payless shoes, man, with Sting, the wrestler Sting with the white paper
Yep.
on the side of the shoes, man, and the WCW red and gold championship belt logo, you can't beat that.
Those
And
are
once-
like Travis Scott, Cactus Jack,
Man.
SBs. Yeah.
Man, and yeah, and so he got into this fight with a really popular kid too, you know, and he had all his buddies. And mind you, guys, this was day one for the both of us, my brother and I, at this new school, okay, and so yeah, he got into a fight. Me being very very green, I just walked right past him. I was like, while he was getting into a fight, I was thinking, I'm gonna go play some handball, like. Not even knowing that, you know, there was a hint of a fight going on. There was a huge crowd, right? The popular kid was fighting my brother. And all I could think about was, I'm going to go stay in line and wait for handball. I got tally, you know? But yeah, so he got into this fight. And before that, you know, in the projects, we're fighting with our neighborhood kids already. You know, we were getting picked on, you know, it was a really tough time during those years, and we were very young, you know. But it became very normal to us, you know. So my brother was fighting this kid, and they're like, "You better beat him up, you know. You better get him, man." And my brother got some hands on and experience from the project in the streets, you know, at 9 years old, and he swung. The kid swung at my brother and hit an air conditioning unit. And it split.
You know those bungalows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Split it to
And
the white.
and it split. And funny thing is, there was a kid in the classroom. He was getting tutored by the teacher, and she described him like, she heard a loud thunk. You know, it was that kid's hand hitting. I mean, she didn't think nothing of it. Anyways, so
She's on the other side tapping the AC. Still works.
So you know, my brother got the kung fu. You know what I'm saying? He laid it down, man. You know, 1, 2, and then a kick, and this kid fell over, and he's like just worried about his hand, like and he was running, and he tripped him, and my brother did this. I heard this flying jump kick in the middle of the air, and kicked this guy down, and then the fight got broken up. You know, but after that day, I understood one thing. It's like, man, you're gonna have to fight for respect. You know, that's one thing about it.
That you flying kick the kid?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
Because he was running, and then I tripped him, and as he was getting up, I basically drop kicked him. I was like, oh, it's crazy.
Pretty much a drop kick.
And then
After that-
I remember it was a Mexican kid, and so
Yeah.
you know, I at that time what my brother left out was like there was a lot of tension between Asians and Mexicans.
Yeah.
And especially the gangs out there, and people who know that, they know this era, right? But we grew up around that time, so they were picking on me because I was like a fobby looking kid. My mom, because we didn't have money, she would cut our hair.
Yeah.
She dressed me all weird, you know what I mean? And she bought Payless shoes when everyone else had Nikes and Jordans and stuff. So they made fun of me because of my Payless shoes. And what I said was, excuse my explicit, I'll whoop you in these shoes though. And then I was 9. He's like, what? What? We're gonna fight. All right, meet me in the bungalow. Blah blah. We're like, all right, cool. You know, little did he know we were already fighting as kids. Between us and also other people, we were already fighting. They didn't know that, right? So we end up fighting, and yeah, like I remember him punching like one of those swimming punches, and I just like dodged it, and he cracked right on the side. I remember when he was running, he's running from me. It was just blood everywhere. You know those uniforms where you wear, it's like those white collar shirts and black or khaki pants. That's what he was wearing, and his whole shirt was filled with blood.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, like it was like a shark in water, right? I saw that, and I knew I was gonna get him. So yeah, what my brother said, but it was it was hard. And my brother too also actually got into a fight. Like I think a couple days after that, because they were trying to pick on him too. They were making fun of him too. And you know, he was just like, bro, like I guess my brother saw like, dang, we have to, like he said, fight for our respect. As crazy as it is to think about it now, being 9, right, Jeremy, being 10, to have to get down to establish that, we were already getting cultivated by the gang life before we were even in the gang life. Is kind of how crazy it was.
Pretty much.
So you're 10 when that fight happens, and you joined the gang when you were 12.
Yeah.
Right. So in that 2 years leading up to it, is he just getting crazier and crazier? Or like what's happening in the 2 years before he joins the gang first?
Man, what's crazy is I just saw the spiral down, man. It's like one thing after another. You know, I still remember the homies hitting him up and saying, "Hey, like let's kick it." You know, let's put in work. Let's do what we got to do to survive. To us coming from that prior environment already, we're already trained and we're kind of conditioned to understand this. You know, so yeah, I saw from that point. It just took a drastic turn, man. You know, not only was he getting involved with fights now we're picking up weapons. You know, it could be simple as a pocket knife, carrying it to school, man. You know what I'm saying? Then it became the semi-automatic era, you know, where people were carrying guns to school, man.
Yeah.
You know, a little pocket rocket. We call them pocket rockets because
Deuce 5s and deuce.
yeah,
2s.
deuce 5s, tray deuces, and you could put them in your pocket, you know? And so I've seen it all, man. And then it became severe when started going to juvenile correctional systems and prison.
You guys know I stress the importance of being deep in your word. So we do that every Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time in our deep dive Bible class. We go from Genesis to Revelations. We're currently in Leviticus. So all the symbols, all of these unlocks, you guys don't want to miss out. I hope you guys enjoying. It's at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at coreoftheheart.com every Saturday. And remember, starve the flesh, feed the spirit. See you guys later.
What's going on in your head before you kind of feel like, wait, maybe I should join the gang? Like, are you kind of like stuck with, hey, I'm trying to do well and get out of here? Like, yeah, what's your life like in that
Okay,
point?
so I'll tell you one thing, brother. I'm a people pleaser, man. If you look up the definition, you see my picture. You know? Definitely. I am
so
a
true,
people
though.
pleaser. So because when we grew up as boys, you know, what do boys want to do? They want affirmation. You know, they want to fit in. You know, and that's what I wanted. Hey, I threw away my Payless shoes, man. I had the Airwalks. You know, my brother had the WCW shoes, but I traded in for some Vans because I wanted to fit in. You know, but that wasn't enough because some other kid had the same Vans that I got. So now I'm a copycat. Oh, it's just, you know what I mean? It's never enough. So then when I met the homies, I was like, you know, I saw them and I'm like, damn, I just want to be just like them. They don't care about anyone's opinions. You know, they're like, they do their own, man. They're jackals, man. Like, and I wanted to be that, you know, like I thought that would gain respect in a manner, you know? So, that was kind of the transition where my innocence was kind of, you know, protected as well as my brother's.
How old are you then?
I was about 14, maybe turning 14, 13 years old. I was in junior high, transitioning to like the high school era. So it was about that time.
I remember my brother getting picked on. I remember that day. Him just coming and be like, man, I'm never going to be the nice guy anymore. Like, he was just like, I don't want that. So it was a little bit of that too. But he just, he was always cool with everybody. My brother knew a lot of other gang members before they were gang members too.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. But like, he was just always like chilling with everybody. And then one day it was just like, you know, got picked on severely. It was like rolling trash dumpster, like all this crazy stuff, right? And so he was just like, I'm not gonna be that no more. And that's when I saw his shift. I was like, oh, he shifted into a monster. You know, I mean, he'll tell you like my anger was really bad, and right, I would blow up on every little thing.
Right.
But like he would, when I saw that, it was such a contrast because he was like chill. Yeah, he would fight, but he would be like, I have to fight, you know. And then it turned into like, no, now I'm gonna be like the aggressor. And now that I saw that shift, it was kind of crazy. Yeah.
Crazy that it just seems like it was normal life for you. Like you guys are growing up in the projects, getting in fights. It just seems like, oh, the people around me were joining gangs. It just seemed very normal that was like kind of the next progression. Like I'll tell you, that's not necessarily normal. Like I didn't have that experience, and I'm sure a lot of people watching wouldn't consider that experience normal. For you guys growing up, did that all feel normal, or did it feel like you were in the projects or potentially outcast? Or for you, was this just normal everyday life? Like nothing seemed out of the ordinary?
That's a pretty good question. So, yeah, it was very normal to us, man. I don't know what it was. It's probably something in the water. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But it was, I hate to say this, and I hate it because, it was a different time, man. That's all I can tell you. It had a lot to do with racial influence, too. And, some stereotypes, they expect you to have and to embrace. Like, Asian people are doctors, they're mathematicians, right? Bad drivers, though. All right. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding. But you hardly see the downside of it. You hardly see that. When the other races they see that, they go, "Man, you had an opportunity that I didn't have." And you clucked it off.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna make you pay for this. Or sometimes there's just like, "Hey, man, I don't like you." I just don't like you because, for some certain reason, and I feel like that was a lot of what was normalized in our era. Who's the better person, who's the bigger man or the bigger boy, whatever, But that's how I see it as, and there was a lot of tension between us, a lot. I hate to say it now because those times they bring back a lot of negative like feelings and vibes. I'm grateful to what the Lord has put us here today to do. You know what I'm saying? We're all united, all under one. And that is my personal opinion about how it was normalized from back then.
Yeah, it was normal back then. It was normal to have racial tension, to be like one side is Asian and the other side is Hispanic, That was a very normal thing. And it was because of the era that he was talking about, So it just happened with all the gang politics, basically. And that's what it was. And then we didn't understand that as kids. We were victims of that. And that was bleeding from families into families. So like they would say like all these guys, these chinitos, whatever, are this way. And, they're not cool. We're not cool with them. And so the kids were just acting off of the politics, not even recognizing that they were creating this tension. And it's beautiful because what my brother's basically saying is it normalized the language of like not even just racism and discrimination, but it was normalized back then to be segregated, normalized to be like murderous, rageful, vengeful, broken home. That was a normal thing. And so, when I got to prison and him getting to prison too, we started to see that, oh my gosh, we're literally just two peas in a pod. Like we all both, whether what race you are, we're all universally interconnected through this like negativity and things that are like these generational curses and traumas that are passed down. And we didn't even know. We were fighting each other, but we're literally the same copy, like carbon copy of one another, just different races. So it's really cool. And that's why he says he kind of regrets it in terms of like, we went at it with people, but it was like we're basically killing ourselves.
Some young kid who also had abusive parents that also grew up in the projects and was just kind of told that's your enemy for no reason. It's
the same story, brother. It just has a different cover on it. You know what I'm saying? It's the same book, man. It just has a different cover.
Thanks.
And, so it's the struggle, man.
That's a bar.
And what's crazy to think is, it was back in the day, but I'm sure the exact same thing is still happening today.
Yeah. Right.
And that's mirroring exactly what's going on in the hoods across America right now.
Absolutely.
What I'd be curious to know is, when did you first go to prison? Because he went in at 12. What was your first experience?
So my first time was in juvenile hall. I went to a San Bernardino County juvenile hall. That was my first juvenile hall experience. And
how old were you?
I was 15, and I went to juvenile hall for joyriding. Yes, and it was a joy until I got caught. But I did, So, me and my boys, we stole a car, and I was greedy. See, this is why you never get greedy, right? So I'm just like, man, I stole this car. But you know what? I want one in black.
Yeah.
So I went to go steal a black car, and then I was riding it, and usually the boys will tell you, "Hey, man, it's only good for like 1 or 2 nights. You gotta dump it." But me, I had it for a week and a half.
So did not know how to fold them or play them.
I did not. And you know what? It was fun. I'm just kidding. Don't do that, guys. Don't steal cars, please. It's a terrible thing to do. But So I remember the day I got caught. I was going to a friend's house, and I was like, I got my hair done ready. I got my Dickie suit looking very sleek and clean.
Dickie suit. Sheesh.
Yeah, and I got into the car. As soon as I got into the car, I hear whoop, and I look over, and they're like, "Get your hands up right now!" And I was like, "I'm sorry," and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, what happened? What did I do?" He's like, "You know what you did?" I said, "I know." And they pulled me out the car, and funny thing is he had a police explorer with him that day. He was the same age as me. Yeah.
You know what that is, right? Like the train.
Ride
You
along.
guys know what the police
ride along.
the ride along, right? The ride along. And he was my age.
It was probably like, wow.
Yeah, and he
Look
was
at
like,
this guy.
He was like, James,
Yeah.
we got history class in an hour.
I didn't know him, but he was like giving him a dab, like, "You did good, officer." And he's like, "I know." But
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so I remember that. I remember that was my first offense. It was crazy. I went to juvenile hall in San Bernardino County, and the first night I couldn't sleep because there was this 11-year-old kid, and he's like, "There's cockroaches," and because there was cockroaches in his cell, and I'm just like, "Dang, man!" And I look, and I'm just like, "Oh, this kid's probably like my age." He comes out, he's like the smallest white kid you can ever like. He looks like a child, man.
Jeez.
And he was 11 years old. And I asked him, "What did you do?" He's like, "I my brother in the eyeball." And I was like, at 11 years old? With the number 2 pencil.
Oh God.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's one of the first times I remember going to the juvenile detention center in San Bernardino County.
How long did you go to juvenile hall for?
So it was about like 2 months. After that, they released me and they asked me, "Hey, are you going to do this again?" I said, "No, I lied." They gave me probation for a year. And then just like my brother, like Johnny, it was a downward spiral, man. Couldn't stop, man. It's like an adrenaline rush. You know what I mean? Johnny, you know what I'm talking
That's so
about.
true. Yeah.
What I want to know is, so he's gone, like locked away at 12. So now you're out. Like, what's going on when he's not home? What are you doing? You're just going deeper in the gang. Like,
Yeah.
are you
So
talking to him at all?
no,
No, we didn't really talk. We didn't have a good relationship, honestly, if we're
Yeah.
being real. We were very estranged. Even though we're from the same hood, I didn't like him and he didn't like me.
Yeah, we did our own thing.
Yeah.
But you were part of the same gang, but would do your own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more of not like the gang thing. It was more like a brotherly, like sibling rival kind of feud.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Because my brother, we resented each other a lot. You know what I'm saying? And it was more about not the street politics, but it was like family politics. Like who's trying to be the better son or who's better than what. It just came down to like the nitty gritty.
Yeah, I was very jealous of my brother.
Yeah.
Because I always was like, he's a good kid, but not super good. Like, he's fighting and stuff. Obviously, he was doing the gang stuff, but I was just always had that resentment, and it wasn't towards my brother. I realized it was towards my dad. So I was like, dude, he like cares about him. My mom seemed to like care about him, being the firstborn, And even though that, like, I didn't realize that, obviously above the superficial surface level, like he was getting his trauma too. But I just saw it as like, hey, you guys like him. How come I always have to be wrong? Like I remember one time me and my brother got into a fight in front of my dad. And my brother like punched me, and then I spat on him. And then my dad like full fist like punched me in the face. He's like, "You never spit on your older brother," blah. And I was like, he just punched me in the face. So like it wasn't even my brother's fault. It was like, Dad, why you let this happen? And I just like hated him because of that. And every single sentence my brother would tell you would always end with, "You're stupid, idiot." Like I would say, "You're dumb," to my brother. I would look down on him in that way. And so he was just, but he was always trying to be cool. Like no matter when things had to happen, when he had to slide for me and he had to do these things, my brother would do it, even though we had that type of stuff, that type of feud. He was always backing me up no matter what. But I think it just goes to show like he always had the brotherly love, but I was always just like very, very like conniving, very cunning, and very like spiteful.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to understand the timeline of like when these fights and when this is all happening, because you're in at 12 and in and out for a long time. You're in and out for a long time. So like a lot of the time where brothers grow up together, you guys were apart and then together, fighting and then together. So I'm curious, like, what parts of each other's lives did you guys probably miss out on? And maybe would things have been different if you didn't spend so much time apart?
Yeah, I think
So,
the teenage years.
Yeah, most of our teens, man. I would tell you, those are, one thing about growing up with your sibling is you want to grow up with your sibling.
Right.
You don't want to miss any type of time. But I think the most crucial times are the teenage years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
that
mean-
was times where we didn't see each other really. It was mainly like when we were younger, we would fight a lot up until the gang.
I'm super curious because when you were in YA, you said your mom never visited. Nobody visited you.
My dad, yeah.
So what's happening behind the scenes? What are your parents saying about Johnny? Like,
Well, because that my brother was locked up during that time, they're very angry, and also it was a mixed emotion, like very sad too, and very lost. Mind you, our parents are immigrants; they don't know what's going on. Back in their country, none of this they can never imagine that this would transpire. So they're kind of in a feud. They're in a void. They're like, man, what's going on? Like, they're blaming themselves, but also blaming their children or the life. My father till this day still says that, I shouldn't have came to America, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like look at my boys. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, nah, Dad, like, it's a good thing you're here because without you coming here, there would be no us, Like, but he's like, man, it's just the self-eating guilt. You know what I'm saying? So, so same thing. To answer your question, it was the self-eating guilt plus the depression, the anguish of their son going to prison. Both of them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of it has to do with I think self-guilt, man.
what was their reaction to you going to prison? Because you're the oldest, you were the poster child.
I was the favorite child, and it just like I said, I did everything to fit in, but the most thing that I hate was bullies, right? So I wanted to do what I wanted to do is to get back at the people that stepped on me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was my main reason. It wasn't for any other reason. It was mainly just because of that. Like, you know what? These guys gave me problems all my life, in school and after school programs, whatever it is, and that was it. That was the main reason why.
When did you guys come out to where you guys were overlapped before you went back again? Or who went back?
Yeah, so I came out and I was only out for like 60 something days. And then he went in, like we pretty much almost went in at the same time. So he ended up going in, 17 years old?
Yeah, 17,
Something like that.
I was still 16. Minor. Yeah, we're minors basically.
Yeah. So we overlapped in that. But in the penal system, I never ran into my brother. Yeah. And the way it is like basically like he went in for, both of us went in for things basically. Yeah, so he did that, we did that, and then it was just kind of like, we didn't really spend, like he had mentioned earlier, we didn't spend any time in our teenage years. We were like literally not seeing each other. It was crazy.
I mean, and the answer is pretty obvious, but I mean, like, do you guys regret kind of missing that time together?
I do, 100%.
I would tell you wholeheartedly, yes, I do. I have a lot of guilt, and a lot of trauma with my brothers because I'm supposed to be the example. I'm supposed to be the older brother. And what do older brothers do? They protect their younger brothers. I feel like I was my brother's keeper. I still do to this day. But when you're leading your brother into a path like that, you have something that eats you up inside. So I definitely regret not growing up with him. I mean, if we could take some of those years back, that would be great.
Yeah, that's one thing my brother always told me was like, I'm kind of like sad that I wasn't there to like protect you or like help you, as an older brother. And I was like, dang, that's kind of what helped us rekindle our relationship a little bit. But like he was always a protector but couldn't protect me even in the prison system or even, because he was going through all of his stuff too.
Did you ever feel like you were let down by your older brother at the time?
I think it wasn't personal, but I felt like the world let me down, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was a catch-all. Like I was very severely depressed and I didn't know that. I was coping with anger and frustration. I didn't know that. Me and my brother fought every day. Like we would catch multiple fades every day.
With each other?
With each other. Like
Yeah.
when we were younger, like we from the age of 5 all the way up, me and my brother would fight all the time.
Just think of it, man. I remember this one time. This is before any of this stuff happened. I remember I fought my brother over fruit roll-ups. I told him specifically, hey, the last fruit roll-up is mine. Okay? You ate the second and last, so the last one is mine. And he's like, okay. And then he stole the fruit roll-up, left a chair in front of the fridge, okay? And he tried to deny it. No, it wasn't me. Who would use the chair to boost themselves up to the fridge so they could grab the candy?
Dad.
Didn't even clean the evidence.
Yeah. And then I'm just like, are you sure you didn't? He's like, yeah.
I just imagine like a Tom and Jerry fight.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
With the cloud.
Yeah,
the dirt
yeah,
cloud.
yeah.
Right. So yeah, we fought. No, true to that. Real facts, man. We fought every day, man.
Yeah.
I remember one time he just had come home, okay, from juvenile hall, and then I was like, "Did you steal my jersey?" And he's like, "No." Right. So I go in his closet and I'm like, and I see my black and white jersey. I'm like, this mother effer, man. You know, I'm like, hey, and he's like, hey, and my brother's very prideful, you know. I told you already, homie, I didn't steal nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, that's right.
Hey, you were a expletive word head.
Yeah, I was.
You were a dookie head.
We both cracked. Like the way with my brother was, he was actually like a whole head bigger than me, but I would still fight my brother, right? So one time my brother split my head open, but I actually split his head open first, actually, and then he like there's scars to prove it, but and then he's like, all right, I'll get you back, and he split my head open.
Hey, side note, guys, it's the exact same location where the scar is
Yeah,
on
we have
both the back of our
Whoa.
heads.
Yeah.
That's why you guys now both talk a little slow.
Yeah, I know, guys.
Hey, man. Hey.
Get him. Boom, bam, 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 bam.
Wait, so Johnny, one of his stories is like in prison, just all the experiences he went through that kind of made him face himself. And I'd be curious, what was the longest stint that you were in for? And then like, what are the thoughts like going through your head? And yeah, I want to just kind of know what was happening mentally inside
14
prison.
years is crazy.
So I caught my bid, and I'm gonna say this off the record. California Department of Corrections, you got the wrong man. I am innocent.
Hey, that's so true though.
I am innocent.
Yeah.
I just decided not to tell.
Yeah.
You know,
It's facts.
I don't want to get into details, but I will say that, yeah, it was kind of like a learning experience. You know, it's a real eye opener, and was it worth it? Some days I'll tell you, I'll be like, man, it's not. But then some days I'll be like, man, I'm glad that I went because this is what I learned.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, you could take it with a grain of salt. Like I said, it depends on you. The end user is going to judge. But for me, I think God wanted us to see something, man. You know,
Facts.
God wanted us to see something, and proven today, like this is God's work, man. You know, have we never been in prison? We would never have any of this. You know,
He's in there, and at a certain point, he's trying to be like good, right? He's going anger management and trying to even be Muslim. What was your experience like? Like you get in, and obviously you got a program.
yeah.
And then at that point, what's happening in your head?
It's kind of the same. Like everyone has this thing called I forgot what it's called. Excuse me, I'm having a brain fart right now. But every prisoner experiences it. So they get the it's called S time. Okay, so it's the time like of 6 months to the house, you know, and that's the most stressful time. They call it S time, right? But we call it stress time because you don't know what you're about to do, you know, before you get out. You know, that was one of my most stressful moments. And before that, just survival, man. You know, just surviving, man. Just keeping my head down, you know, not starting any problems. And the problems came to us, you better handle it.
Yeah.
You know. But one thing that I regret that I didn't do is go to church in there, man. You know, because I don't know if you guys know it, but you know, Christians in jail, they're not really. I don't want to like knock down our people, but they're looked down upon. You know, it's because a lot of them they do the hide behind the Bible tactic. You know, like, oh, I'm a Christian now, I don't have to put in work, or I don't have to program, or I don't live by any rules. No, you're wrong. You're gonna have to, you know. And I just remember feeling like the spirit. You know, I'm just like, man, I have to go. But dang, I don't want to go, man, because you know what? I don't want the homeboys to laugh at me. You know, I don't want them to look down on me. You know, I don't want them to look down on the watching. You know what I mean? Because I was a prime representative for them, and I was just like, man, that's the thing I regret, man. Like everything else was cool. Like you had to fight. Fighting was normal for us. You know that.
Yeah.
You know, seeing acts of violence being committed. That's one of my main things, man, that I regret, is not going to the Lord and participating in church events in there. You know?
Was it on the yards that you were on, Jeremiah? Like I never asked him this. Did they trip if you were Muslim? Like, didn't they only trip? The ones that I was on, they only trip when you were Christian.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, bro. In life, right? Nothing is harder than being a Christian, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To accept the Lord. You know, I'll tell you why. Because all the Muslims, they weren't persecuted as much, man.
Yeah.
You know, they get to do whatever, not whatever, but they had more of a leeway. You know, and people respected them more. People respected the Muslim in there as the real religion because they're doing their prayers, right? But for Christians, it's like, man, it tells you about the disciples, man, how they were suffered and how they were killed. That's the thing about it. That's the hardest thing you can do, because when you say that you're a Christian in there, automatically to them it is kind of a red flag already.
Yeah.
You know, to most of the, I'm not saying everyone, but most of the population in there will be like, huh, it's a choir boy. You know what I mean?
Weren't you saying in prison that's when you kind of got some size on you?
Yeah.
What about you? Because you're
this
yoked.
fool,
Hey, man.
Like, were you
Jacked.
skinny when you were growing up, or were you
Bro,
always big? Like,
Tell him, bro.
You guys think I'm big, but I'll tell you right now, I'm only 120 pounds soaking wet.
hey, for the audio listeners, if you look at his arms, they're the size of Johnny's like neck.
No,
like his head. Like,
He's lying. He's lying.
My brother went to prison, 110 pounds.
110 pounds.
What?
My brother's 110 pounds. He went to prison.
How tall were you at the time?
I weighed more than him.
I was 5'5", 110 pounds, 17 years old, man.
that's insane. That's insane. So all this time in the story too, you're fighting in the projects though, and you're tiny.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I tell you right now, I lost a lot. I ate a lot of punches, man, and they did not taste. It was not tasteful.
Wait, so then in prison, like what? Like you just started like eating 5 times a day, just working out. Like when did you pack on the size?
Yeah. So, very good question. I remember this guy named Wolf, man. This hey,
It's a
shout out,
badass name.
man. Shout out to Wolf, man. Hey, he was a great guy, man. Honestly, and he was just this big Mexican Southsider, just big, man. But you know, he had love for me. I don't know why. Maybe he saw like he probably I probably reminded him of himself, I guess. I don't know. But he was like, I remember they used to talk smack to me, you know, like, man, chopsticks. They call me chopsticks. Not only is it racist, but it was offensive because I was very skinny, you know. And I remember I would get lined up to do the pull-ups. You know, there's a line you have to wait at the weight power. You line to pull-ups, line for everything basically. Okay, it's overpopulated. So I remember they would clown me like, man, you ain't never gonna get big, man. Man, you chopsticks, man. But that guy Wolf was like, hey, bro, don't listen to anything they gotta say. I'll tell you right now, I was just like you when I first came in.
Dang.
I did 15 years, and he's just monster, bro, like big, you know. So there was some really cool cats and individuals in there that actually, you know, motivate me to get into, you know, working out, you know, staying healthy, and you know, being about physical fitness.
Wait, so Wolf had a full prison workout plan.
Man,
Okay, what was it?
hey, the water bags, man.
Oh yeah.
Jonathan, you want to tell him about the water bags?
Yeah, basically they fill. So there's some places that you don't have weights. I don't know, in his prison and mine's there was Bowflex. You guys remember Bowflex? Did they have that, Fado? Yeah. Huh? So
They had that in Arizona, yes.
So they have Bowflex weights because you give prisoners weights, they'll kill each other, right?
Oh.
So before, I think way before, the years before we got in, they would have actual free weights.
Yeah.
But then Bowflex, and then people started to rip those things apart, right? And do crazy, use cords or whatever. So then you'd have to improvise. Water bags, like, you know, basically you squat your cellmate, like crazy stuff to just get weight, basically.
Wait, so I don't understand how you guys are putting on so much weight. Like you can just eat as much as. In my mind, prison is
Commissary.
like you get like 3 bites of food a day and that's it. Like what? How does that work?
Yeah,
Well-
what's the diet plan? What's the prison diet plan?
Yeah.
The prison diet plan, a lot of top ramen,
Yeah.
and a lot of beans and summer sausage.
Yeah.
Spreads, man.
true,
Spreads.
bro.
So spreads are it's kind of a unique concoction, man. If you think of it, you got refried beans, you got your chicharroni pork rinds, you got your top ramens, beef, shrimp, and even lime chili shrimp if you're at certain, penitentiary systems, you know.
Lime chili shrimp was the
Right,
best.
and so we just do it's pretty much a jambalaya, man. You know,
Like a protein packed, carb packed jambalaya,
Yeah.
but it's just like a workout paste.
And what
Yeah.
some people made better spreads than others. You got the Michelin
Oh,
star
wow.
cell over here.
you're talking to the top chef right here, man. The Asians had the best
Hey,
spreads, bro.
on everything. No disrespect to the salsa, no disrespect to the
Yeah.
homies. Pero we had the best spread.
Why?
Amen.
What was different? You would put
We
sriracha
just-
in yours?
no, it's not. It's just the way we mixed it up.
Oh, you knew the
Yeah.
ratios.
It's just the way we would make spring rolls out of it. Like there would be the spring rolls.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Like and people would be like, and we would trade. That's the prison pipe. Like it's an ecosystem. You would trade. Like my brother was really good at like drawing. So like some people would come and like give him stamps or whatever, and then he'd trade for like a birthday card.
Yeah.
It was a whole like currency in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's kind of interesting? It's like when you watch like social media or YouTube and you see like fitness people with their meal prep, they're making spread bait. They just make them randomest stuff. 2 cans of tuna, then you throw Frank's Red Hot, and I'm just like, that was disgusting. But it's just like, you
Till
know,
you taste it.
yeah, they're like cottage cheese. It's just like a mush.
You
Just
know
like
what
a-
they say, Jeremy? They say beggars can't be choosers, man. You
Yeah.
gonna eat that spread, man, or you gonna starve.
Facts.
You know?
Spread was the best thing you could get in prison.
Of course.
That-
But there's also like depending on which yards, there are certain times where you can get stuff too.
Yeah.
Like you could get, KFC. You know what I mean? Like
Food
What
sales.
do you mean? What do you mean? Certain times? It's
KFC.
like-
They
yeah.
got Cheeseburger Eddie in there.
Yeah. Hey. So
Cheeseburger Eddie's
yeah.
crazy.
I got
Yeah.
the fries that'll cross your eyes.
No, I'm telling you right now. Like, thank God for Veterans Day because
Yeah.
hey, thank you to all the service members that served. Thank you. But veteran food sales, man, those are awesome. I mean, they really just throw a food sale for anything. Okay, but yeah, you would get, as like Johnny said, fried chicken from KFC.
Yeah.
You got the superstar famous bowls. Now you know why I'm so hooked on regular franchise food, man. But you got your Domino's pizza.
Because that was luxury back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait,
and-
That's true.
I don't get a veteran sale like they're pulling up with KFC though. I don't understand.
It could switch. It could be in between. So it could either be Domino's pizza or KFC. Where I was at.
and what the money supports veterans, or I don't understand.
Or like veterans bring it in. They're
That's
like
what
volunteering.
they say. Yeah, that's what
Okay.
they
Yeah,
say.
that's what they say. It's the
Oh.
institution, man. Okay,
Yeah.
they're just But they throw a food sale like maybe like once a year.
Yeah.
Or maybe twice a year. I forgot the time frame for that. But yeah. So back to the spreads, man. Spreads is your bread and butter. There are some people, John. You know this too. There are some homies that don't even walk to chow.
Yeah. They
don't-
only eat off of their commissary. That's true.
That means you're rich.
Yeah, I was about to say that means you got the shmoney.
Yeah. That's true.
Can you get like candy, like M&Ms or?
I think you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
yeah.
depends.
Yeah, they have
It's a limited supply.
Yeah,
Like,
no. With the commissary, it's like a cheap liquor store, man. It's like a gas station store, basically.
What's the reason? Like,
true.
obviously they're trying to make it so you're not having a good time in prison, but like, what's the reason of like holding back food, especially if you're gonna pay for it, right? Like, why don't they just give you access to?
Punishment. I mean, you can't beat you shot people.
You give them if you give
did-
them Cliff Bars, like they're that's like what's the difference? Oh, you can't have Cliff Bars.
It's just all punishment, and they're trying to keep costs low.
Yeah.
And there's also that prison to corporate pipeline too, where it's like if you rub elbows with the right people, right? I'm in the same era my brother was locked up, that I was locked up. Before it wasn't like your toothpaste was just regular unbranded toothpaste. And then you start seeing Colgate. You start to see Crest and you're like, what the heck? Like, oh, that like we're thinking, wow, this is great. We're not complaining. Because the other toothpaste stuff is like nasty. That's actually like flavored sometimes,
Yeah.
whatever. And so you start to see these little things entering the prison, and you're like, huh, And so obviously as you get out, you start to recognize these little things that sadly, like with anything, when there's a group of people and there's money involved, it turns kind of like business.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's like the Colgate prison contract is probably like hundreds of millions of dollars if they get to
Probably.
survive or supply all the toothpaste for every prison.
Oh man, there's not only Colgate, but there's a lot of investors, and they're all famous.
Yeah.
Crazy.
A lot, bro.
What would you say were the lessons that you walked away from in prison?
Don't be a people pleaser, man. Straight up. You know, I have a lot of experience in there where, you know, I wanted to fit in, you know, but when I saw something wrong, you know, I didn't call it out because I was afraid to be judged. I was afraid to be that individual. I want to share this one particular story where there was this guy. I don't know who this individual was. I just know about him. I remember when there was a incident, you know, with the specific race, and this guy was getting like to death, you know, and I remember like we're under the tables and he was getting stabbed by our table, and he was like grabbing me, like saying, "Bro, help me," and sorry guys. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna leave with, man. Like, you know, don't be a people pleaser, man. You know, I understand that, you know, hey, politics are politics. You know what I'm saying? But some things when you experience in there, man, it's you know, you kind of take home with you. You know, so what I took out of that was you know, don't be a people pleaser. You know, do what's right, man. Do the right thing. You know what I mean, if you can't do it physically or even emotionally or however way, do the right thing.
Yeah. You know, what's crazy is a lot of people have those types of experiences. A lot of our homies too, where you have to turn a blind eye, or my brother's like leaving out details, but there are times where you have to take care of even your own people. You know, they call it cleaning house. So I could be sitting here talking to my brother, all cool, and the next minute I'd be having to stab him. So what my brother's talking about is actually, it happens. I have a story like that too, and I've shared it, but it's similar, where you have to turn a blind eye because they're not part of your race. These guys are getting killed in front of you, and you're like, I can't get in there because if I get in, then everybody else has to get into it. So you live with what he's saying, a lot of survivor's guilt. And I felt the same. I've had stories like that. He says any prisoner, if they've been on the GP, which is general population mainline, they all have this type of trauma. We speak for them too, honestly. Like my brother's bold enough to say that, but a lot of people won't say it. So I hope that they can understand that we understand. But people who don't go to prison, especially the California system, they don't understand stuff like this. They're just like, why can't you help them? They don't understand that there's so many layers to these things. And we just have to like sit there and as people pleasers, I don't want to look weak. You'll allow the most heinous things because you don't want to look weak.
It could also cost you your life.
And it could. That would very much so. It would cost us our lives.
Yeah,
in that predicament. If my brother was to help at that time, it's over for my brother. Yeah. So it was just, it's sad to be able to be at that crossroads of like, do I survive or do I not survive? Do I let somebody die in order for me to survive? These types of things tear you up inside, and that's why he tears up. I never see my brother cry, honestly. So, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did you get out? So what's the timeline of when you got out and you got out? Who got out first? And then is that the first time you guys meet again? And what's that relationship like?
Yeah, I got out first, and my brother gets out shortly after that. And yeah, we meet, and we were still not. We were closer, but we were still kind of beefing it. It wasn't like a big beef, but we were still kind of like distant, if you will. We weren't like this where we could talk. It was very simple. My brother would tell you, like, I wasn't always talkative. My brother also was not very talkative. Actually, he was more talkative as a young like kid, and then he reclused up. And I was kind of like the opposite. Like I talked a little, and then I also reclused up too, you know. But we met, and I would just. You could tell him the story. I'm embarrassed, but there's a story that my brother told me yesterday, and it reminded me of when he got out. I basically took him, and like he wanted to work out, and I like playing basketball at that time. I'll let my brother share that story. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like zoned out right now, dude. I'm still thinking about that situation. What was it again? I'm sorry.
Well, I'm curious. What are you thinking about?
Just
Like,
that,
like what thoughts are running through your head? I'm saying.
just that, man. A lot, man. A lot of like regret. You know what I'm saying? But let's go back to what was the question again?
Yeah. So when we got out, the story of like me and you going to, I take you to play basketball.
Oh yeah. So this guy, all right, going back to WWF Warzone, guys. Yes, remember that story very fondly. Yeah, my brother just couldn't take an L, man. I remember he's like, "Hey, let's go play basketball at our local youth center that we grew up at." And I said, "Hell yeah, let's go!" You know, and basketball was like one of our favorite sports to do, man. We would ball it up all the time. But I get out. Okay, I'm on freshly out parole. It's like the first week I'm out, right? My brother is like still on the tip, right? Yeah. And we start playing this basketball game, and this guy's playing like really hard defense, and he kind of like pushes or shoves my brother, or he hits him. I don't remember.
He elbowed me.
He elbowed you. Okay, so
Allegedly.
no, he elbowed him, and he was basically throwing elbows, and my brother just flipped. Hey, what the hell, man? Why you keep throwing your elbow, man? Why you keep shoving me, man? We got to get down right now. And then me, I'm still like freshly out. I'm like, damn, I'm on parole. I just did 14 or 13 and some change. And now I'm going back in.
Instantly.
So
Yeah.
it was just ka pa 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 pa.
No. And then I tell him, I'm like, hey, Johnny, I'm going to kind of rank you right now. I'm not going to lie. Okay, but.
No, what happened is the other guy turned it down.
Yeah.
The guy said, "Bro, it's just basketball," and I was like, "Yeah, but I'll, like if it's just basketball, then keep it like that." And then he was like, "All right," and then my brother was just like I saw his face. He's like, "Dang," because the thing is, if I fought, my brother would have to jump in. But the thing is, also he would have let me have. I told my brother like, "Let me just handle him one-on-one," and he would have. But then even if the cops were called. What my brother's leaving out is we're both validated gang members. Yeah. And he's on parole and I'm on parole. We can't even be in the same vicinity. So we're already breaking the law right there. We go and we play basketball. If I fight, if he's anywhere in that area, he'll get violated. Yeah. And that's why I think I was really stupid, was that I never really cared. Like that was the type of person I was. I didn't think. I would just like get angry. My brother was like, "Dude, I just got out." But he didn't say that. He didn't really say that. He was just like, all right, But
yeah,
now
go.
I know deep down he was like, damn, I don't want to go back to prison, but that's my little brother. I have to. Yeah. That's a dichotomy of a gang. It's like we don't want to, Yeah. But we have to, basically.
I love that Godfather thing where they say it's strictly business. It's strictly business. Man, Al Pacino wasn't even made yet. He was like, it's not personal. It's strictly business. Yeah, and that's what we write off of. It is strictly business, because I understand that not even I myself or my brother, but most of our homies too are like, man, I don't want to do it, but you know what? It's strictly business. I got to take care of it. Yeah,
So now you're freshly out of prison. What was your first impression of your mom becoming Christian?
Man, like I would say. Asians are very prone to like Buddhism and stuff like that. So it was a very like big shock to me. I see the change. She was like way more happier, man. You right? Am I right? Yeah, so like I just thought, I was like, man, why are you so happy, man? It's crazy. Like, shout out to Pastor Kim, man. And Moxie Park. Like, thank you guys for real for saving my family, man.
Facts.
And I understand that. When I first saw my mother, I remember her as the woman that would like nag me, or try to, tell me to stop doing something that I wanted to do, or controlling, or whatever the case was. I saw my mother in that light. But when I saw her and she was just like 100% transformed, I was like, wow.
So then at the time though, when did you have your first experience with Pastor Kim, and did you talk to him about it? Like when?
No.
So what, you guys are just hanging around?
Yeah,
and you're going through that change?
Yeah, I never brought it up because Pastor Kim was like, you don't have to tell people. You can just show people. So that's one thing my brother too, he could probably share this, but at first, what were your thoughts on Christianity, like with me? and just all the changes.
I was like, yeah. I mean, it sounds good, but is it good? And yeah, you know what? And I'm gonna share a funny story real quick. Pastor Kim told me, he's like, Johnny is gonna be a preacher. I said, get the hell out of here, dude. Wow. Ain't no way. Ain't no rat's chance, man. No way. And when he started doing the podcast and stuff, like, hey, bro, I'm doing it. I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, it's because I was prone like that, and I apologize to you for that, bro. I didn't believe in you, Yeah. But I seen that, and I was just like, man, he just blew up, dude. He's blowing up, and I'm just like, he's gonna buy me a house. I'm just kidding, guys. No, that's not what I thought. I was just very happy for him because that was our niche, like we needed some, like everyone needs something, man, and that's my brother's calling, man. And boy, it's the calling. It's from God, man. It's Jesus Christ, man. Amen to that,
So what are you thinking? Like Johnny literally moves into a church.
Right.
What are you thinking at that point? What's happening to my brother?
I was kind of, like I said, I was skeptical. You know what I mean? That's the term for it. I was looking for the word.
I would be too. This man with his history.
I mean, look at this guy, man.
Yeah.
Like, tatted down, to the bone.
Yeah, just stealing at 5 years old, 4 years old.
Yeah, and going up to people and say, hey, man, I'm making Jesus Christ cool again. Get out of town,
Yeah.
But no, I see it and it's working, man. Like I seen it personally, like first person view. I saw it. He was like, changing lives, man, through Christ.
Do you have like a story or a moment where you went from skeptical to, okay, maybe this is real for Johnny?
Oh, man. I remember one little homie in particular, he's a great guy, man. He's awesome. And he was like, dude, I mess with your brother's content, man. I mess with the church. I'm like, what? Not you. Mind you, he was just like a mini me of him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Active, strong, courageous, brave, whatever, And he's putting it down. And, and the thing is, he's a shot caller, man.
Yeah.
He's not like just a regular guy. He earned his ranks. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, hey, I mess with your brother, man. I'm just like, wow. How? He's like, yeah, I wanted to lead the homies the right way. And I was like, man, I couldn't even do that, man.
Yeah.
And I'm
we were misleading the youngsters.
Right.
Honestly.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? For us, and that's a beautiful thing, man. I see it. Like, that's why I believe in Johnny. I'm like, dude, like I said, that from that moment on, the whole skepticism of my brother and the frame I had him in, it was gone, man.
Wow.
When did you start preaching to him? When did you?
I never preached to my brother.
Yeah.
I never pushed it to the homies. I'm serious. You can ask my brother. I've never talked to him about God. I just stopped carrying a gun. I stopped doing all that stuff. My brother's leaving out some stories, but people would just be like, yo, what's up with Johnny, And my brother didn't want to hear it. He's like, no, he's just doing his faith thing. Like, my brother doesn't go into detail. But essentially, like, he's seen me years ago changing, but he was still skeptical. And then what he's saying is when the youngsters started to respect me, when his friends started to accept me, and they were like, damn, he's way more peaceful. And people started to love me. Like, in my hood, a lot of the older homies, they love me, So, like, the youngsters respect me. When you're not supposed to be respected, if the person that I am, most people will be like, oh, that guy's a weirdo. And it was like that. He's leaving that out. But in the beginning, it was like, that's kind of weird. Because being Buddhist, most of our hood is predominantly Asian, obviously. But we're also brothers. Me and my brother are brothers. Like, our older homies have brothers. Most of our whole set, right, bro?
Yeah, we're the band of brothers.
Exactly. Literally. Yeah. And that's why we go so hard in the streets. Because when you're hurting someone, you're not just hurting you're hurting our actual blood brother. So, like, and then in the same way, they also can be clicked and be like, what is this guy doing? But now, my brother can confirm this, the homies too, you've seen them at the lives, like, they love everything that we're doing, and it's because I changed.
Yeah, and I was going to say that's a great note to all the viewers because I constantly see people asking, how do I preach the gospel to someone who doesn't want to hear it? And your answer constantly is leading by example.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect example of how you just led by example. You never really had to preach the gospel to your brother, but he saw the change in your life and made his way over himself.
Why don't you share that, Jeremy? When you went, the first time you went and you spoke to Ungung's
Oh,
dad, Pastor Kim.
Yeah. So the first time I went to church, like I said, I was very skeptical. I'm a see it and believe it guy. Okay, not the hear and believe it guy.
Totally.
Funny. But I went to church with a very skeptical mindset, and I saw a bunch of stuff. Like it was just a whole new world to me. And the prior negativity I got from going to church and stuff or hearing about going to church, and it's negative, it's boring. It actually is not, man. If you have to go with an open heart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Pastor opened up with me. With his family. Everyone was there. We were just opened up. It was really eye opening, man. It was eye opening, and I started to believe, like, man, there is some hope left. There is something. And the thing with Ungung is that I forgot about that story, bro.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. What? Can you refresh me on what happened?
Yeah. So you went to I remember you like seen me and you were like, this who's changed.
Oh, right.
Like, why do I like, what the hell is going on? Kind of similar to what Dad did. And then you get there, and I think Mom, I forgot what it was. Mom like told you to come or something like that.
Yeah.
Or they came to you. I don't remember.
I think she told me to come.
Yeah. So you went there, and then they preached the gospel to you.
Right.
And then I remember him telling me vividly, like, dude, it's true. If Jesus died for all my sins,
I'm
why
righteous,
the hell
I'm
am I
holy.
still saying I'm
Yeah.
a sinner? Like, that was his main thing.
Yeah.
And I was like in tears. Like I was like swallowing my tears.
Yeah.
What year in your Christian walk was that when you first went?
I think that was like 2.5, 3 years into my walk.
Yeah.
So it took him a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
I
was
remember
still
he asked me too right after that. He was like, "So you still a sinner?" I said, "No." And he said, "What are you?" I said, "I'm righteous. I'm holy."
Amen.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
So like, everybody, the story of coming to Christ and accepting that is always like a heartwarming one, but it's like this.
Yeah.
So what were your struggles in accepting that you were righteous, but then obviously still coming from being in the lifestyle that you were in? What were your struggles?
So first and foremost, right? I'm not trying to quote scripture here, but it says, that all men are failures, and you can't trust man. They're liars, cheaters, whatever, right? As mankind, and that's the first acceptance. Like, you have to know you can't do it on your own, man. You know what I'm saying? You can't go through the rings of fire without Jesus, man. That's the truth, because when you try to do your own stuff, like I even though I accepted Christ, I still have my own thinking. Like, you know what? I'm still gonna try and do this. I'm still trying to do that, and I fail every time. 10 out of 10 times.
Sheesh.
But when I left it to God, and he showed me mercy. I left it to God, and He was like, you know what? Here it is, and it happens. It works, and I'm just like, man, this is like the antidote. Jesus Christ is the antidote, man. And there's a lot of checking yourself, evaluating yourself, right, and saying, man, you're just a human being, man. You're a man. You're a failure. You're a liar, cheat, whatever it is. You can't do it without God. Yeah. And that's what people have to accept. Because a lot of people will be like, hey, I could control my life, this and that. But can you really? If you can control your life, then why does bad things still happen to you?
Yeah. That's facts.
It's
literally the core of our teaching, So you can't do it, and that's the deception. Thinking that you can, and then failing, and then doing well, failing. This constant up and down. You just get tired of it one day, and you're just like, damn, I really can't do it.
What is your reaction to Johnny's like social media growth?
I thought he photoshopped it the first time, bro. He's like, look at my followers, bro. I was like, that's cap, bro. That's photoshopped. And he's like, no, look. And I go, hold on. I'm going to investigate this. So I look at it. I was like, dang. Wow. That's amazing. What the hell is so funny?
How genuine you are. Like, how shocked you are.
Yeah, no, I was very shocked. I was like, man, my baby brother, man, my little brother, man, doing the Lord's work, man. That's why I say God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's through the blessings of Jesus Christ and our Father, And it's crazy. I'm just mind blown, dude. Yeah. I'm mind blown about all these events that are, transpiring. And it's not any of our doings, man. Facts. It's it's Jesus Christ, man. You know.
I'm curious how Johnny's growth on social media has impacted your life at all.
They call me Mr. Los Angeles Fitness for some reason. It's very awkward. I don't know.
What is that nickname?
Because my brother, one time we were on live and I was like, James, where are you at? He's like, I'm at the Los Angeles Fitness. And I was like,
Oh.
and I'm like, LA Fitness, you mean? No one says Los Angeles Fitness. And then he's like,
I don't know that.
He's like, what the heck does LA stand for, Johnny? Like he was like convincing me. I was like, I mean, it does say Los Angeles Fitness. And I was like that's like saying Los Angeles International Airport. People just call it LAX.
Oh,
But he's
they do?
like, Los Angeles, what does LA stand for? Stupid. And I was like, dang, I mean, he ain't wrong. But that's like hilarious, right? But he's serious. He's serious. That's what's crazy.
That's funny.
That's funny because there's LA Fitnesses like all around the country, but
Yeah.
for you guys, it was just Los Angeles Fitness. It's the same thing here.
Just for me though. For me.
yeah, just for
him.
you.
He's the only one that calls it that, bro. They should
That's
rebrand
so funny. So anything else? Has anything else changed in your life, or maybe the homies or the people you were around? Like, has Johnny's rise on social media impacted your life at all?
Man,
Sure.
a lot actually. Yeah. I get mistaken by him a lot, bro. I've been mistaken a lot by him.
Pastor, you're like,
No, they don't even say it. They go, "Hey, you're that YouTube guy," and I was like, "What? No way." And
you're like,
then-
I'm just Asian, you racist.
No, I don't even say that. I love it, man. I love it. I love that because it just reassures me that God is doing His work, man. You know what I'm saying? Like none of this would happen without Jesus Christ. And the funny thing is, the most recent story, there was a police officer that came up to me, bro.
Oh, yeah. You told me this story. Go ahead, bro.
And I was like, right? So I was at Target, and I was with my wife and my daughter, and with my wife actually. My daughter wasn't there, but he came up to me and he was like, "Hey, you look familiar." And back
He was
then,
geared up,
he was
no?
geared up too. He was on the beat cop, bro.
Yeah.
You thought you were about to go back.
Man, dude. I'll tell you right now, when he came up to me and I looked at him, my back instantly got sweaty, bro. And I was like, oh man. And he's like, hey, you. I was like, oh. And my wife turned around and she's like, and I was like, he's like, hey, are you Johnny Chang? And I go, oh, thank God. I said, no, officer. He's like, oh, okay. I just want to say that, hey man, I watch your guys' content. I was like, I'm his brother. He's like, I watch your guys' content, and I'm a Christian too myself.
Wow.
I said, man, look at God, man.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling, bro. Just to think about it, just like, man, I didn't have respect for law enforcement, or now I do, but it was just there were the ops, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially in our neighborhood, man, they're vicious.
Yeah.
They're vicious, man. Like law enforcement, they're on you, trust me, But when he came up to me in that kind of gesture, I was like shocked, man. And so that's one of the occasions that affected my life, because of his rise too,
Yeah. You're welcome.
Well, I'm not saying that was great.
So, in our neighborhood, no gangs got along, right? San Gabriel Valley is very famous for this back then, at least in our era. But it's beautiful because my brother always shares with me off camera how many of our ops, they say, which are no longer enemies, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to them. But how they go and they come up to my brother with respect and be
Yeah.
like, yo, I seen your little brother. Or they'll even say, I seen you, and be like, yo, we rock with it. These are enemies. These are people where there's years of bloodshed. There's, and it's like to hear that and then bridge that is crazy, right?
It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing, and that's actually very surprising as well.
Johnny obviously has been given by a gift of God of being able to help people, and it was a long journey for him to get to this point. I'm curious, like, how your family uses Johnny, right? You kind of got like a Bible therapist on call.
Mm-hmm.
How do you use Johnny in your personal life, or does he help you in your
I
personal
said, hey
life?
man, buy me a car right now. Right now. Buy me Applebee's, my favorite restaurant. I'm just kidding. No. My father, as we know him, as you guys know him so far, how he raised us, it's very surprising how he changed his demeanor, and it's been like that for years, and he's so proud, man. I've never seen a proud father. I've never seen just a proud mother too. My mom is like, basically, he became where I was. He's the poster child now, and I'm the dropout. You know, she's like, you need to listen to Johnny right now. You need to do this or you need to do that. I'm like, bro, chill out, man.
Chill out is great.
I'm a good son too. I'm just kidding. Thanks. But no, the positive reinforcement of that is very strong today. The connection is strong, man.
Yeah.
You know, thank God. You know, God is good. It's been a journey. You know, it's been a journey. But I would say that to answer your question, bro, my parents, as much as they were abusive and controlling, they never gave up on us. You know what I'm saying? Like, they never gave up. Even though the slightest hope left, they still try to bring it back, you know, to me or my brother. You know what I'm saying? Even though years of turmoil, now we live a eternity of peace now. You know what I'm saying? Or if eternity is even real. But we're going to live, you know, to the rest of our days peaceful. I've never had such a peaceful brother, my mother and my father. And I myself as well, man. I've been blessed with a family I'm not supposed to even have or think of having or even conjuring a thought of having. You know, so we're blessed all around.
To be honest, like your entire family story is written by God. Like it just comes out. It's like a movie. It's the craziest movie. It's why people's just jaw drop. They're like, "How is this possible? It doesn't make sense."
Your mom jumping out of the car, like I just found that out today.
That's the craziest.
That is
thing
such
I've
a
ever heard.
movie thing. Like you were almost just not here.
Yeah.
Just insane.
Yeah. It was definitely a very touching story too. But like I said, going back to the original question of our childhood, you know, they're very great moments too, man. Very great moments, you know. It's a journey, man. You know, it's a journey.
I have three questions, but they kind of go back they kind of jot off topic.
What's your social security number? That's number
the
one.
3 on the back of your
Zero
card.
zero 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 zero.
So 2 for James, 1 for Johnny. The first one is so coming from all the past gang life, incarceration, now to where we are today, was there ever a moment where you didn't think Johnny would make it here alive?
I'll tell you like this, man. We're from the San Gabriel Valley, okay? Our motto was, you know, tomorrow was never promised. You know what I mean? It's only the hard and only the strong, you know? So, yeah, every day was a struggle, man, definitely. Especially back in that era, you know, you had to be hard. You had to be strong. There was no backing down. And that was like that not only with us, but every hood that you went to. Every hood had the same mentality. Yeah. You know? Just imagine, you throw one little piece of hamburger meat into a swimming tank of sharks. Like, everybody's going to want to try that. You know? Everybody's going to take a piece at you. So to answer your question, yeah, there was definitely days where I thought he wouldn't make it back.
And you just had to kind of deal with that unknown, especially because you guys weren't communicating. You're so far apart. Like, you just go to sleep every night thinking, I might not wake up with a brother.
Like that perfect thing where that movie scene with Ice Cube and at Boys in the Hood, right? Where they got into a fight, you know, and then he's walking around and then the ops pull up on him. And they see the ops and they're like, man, they're just going to pull up. And Ice Cube notices right off the bat, my brother is out there. That's exactly the same feeling. Like, yeah, we would get down, we would fight, but then he would just leave the house, and I'd be like, I'll tell the younger, hey, go, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Make sure he doesn't end up like, you know, that. You know? So yeah, it was very different.
And then Johnny, is there a piece of your testimony that wouldn't exist without James?
I think a lot of it. Most of it, actually, because my brother doesn't know this, but a lot of the times he motivated me in many ways. Like, when I wanted to give up, I would be like, okay, my brother's also in this with me. He's also in the same gang, and he hasn't really given up. I think it would have been better if he gave up, then I could like also give up, but he never gave up. He was like pedal to the metal. So although that caused me to spiral more in my gang, I was always trying to outdo him, actually. And that in itself then wrote the testimony for me. Whereas there's many times, and any gang member will share this, there are times where we're at crossroads a lot in our hearts where we want to stop, but we don't want to because of the people-pleasing aspect. and because we don't want to look like weak.
Facts.
But in our hearts, like we already want to leave. You get what I'm saying? So he motivated me, although it may be a negative thing. It wasn't, because Romans 8:28 says all things are for the greater good, right? For God. So without my brother being there, I think if I was just by myself, let's say he wasn't there, then I wouldn't have that competitive nature. I wouldn't have that like, oh, he's better than me, so I gotta be better. Like, it just wouldn't be the same testimony. I probably would have, like, and it's a lot. Like, my brother just kind of was there without him realizing it. That was the motivation, believe it or not, And I think that's why God allowed us to be so hateful towards each other. We would chase each other around with weapons. Like, I would chase my brother.
He chased me with them scissors, man. And I'm not talking about like the Chinese like sewing shop scissors with the really sharp tip.
Yeah.
He would chase me, man. I'm just
What's
like,
wrong with you, man?
I couldn't lose.
crazy, bro.
I couldn't lose. My brother was bigger than me, so I would fight. I would be the type, like, if I can't beat you one-on-one, then I'll fight with a bat. Yeah, and if I can't beat you with a bat, then I'll beat you with the knife. And if I can't beat you with the knife, then I'll beat you with the gun. And literally, I'm not proud to say this, I pulled guns on my brother before. And it was bad. It was bad, So I was like the same way. And my brother was always, what he doesn't know is that he was always the bigger person. Like, believe it or not, he was always like, oh man. One time I remember we got into a fight, and he beat me up pretty bad on this one. Like, he dolphined me, like boom, he hit me in the back of the head, and I was like dazed, and he basically like knocked me out. But when I woke up from it, like, I was like, I'm gonna kill this dude. My brother at that time was dating another girl, and they were young, and I think she like brought Popeyes or something like that.
Oh yeah.
The popcorn shrimp.
Yeah.
And she's like, this is your brother wanted to give you this. So that was always my brother's heart. Yeah. Was always like, damn, we're both two peas in a pod, And actually, from my brother, there's times where like he stopped me from doing a lot of evil things. Where because I would be the type to like get mad at other people. I had very bad anger. My brother would be like, bro, just chill, Johnny. Like, it's not that serious. Like the basketball thing, for example. Yeah. I was telling my brother, like, bro, I'm just gonna rush this dude, which means I'm gonna punch him. I'm gonna make him fight me. And my brother's like, you don't have to do that, bro. I mean, we can. He was always like, we'll do it, but bro, you don't have to do it, bro. Like, he already backed down. He's telling you. So he was really good at talking me down, actually.
I remember this. Sorry to cut you off, but I remember this one particular incident, dude. It was crazy. I remember we were, so I was smoking weed with one of the homies, right? And then my brother comes in, kick down the door, boom, and he's pissed. He's like angry, and I'm just like, hey, bro, like chill out. And the homie's like, chill out, dude. And he's like trying to find something, Oh, yeah. And then he found it. He grabbed the weapon, and I was like, what are you doing, bro? It's like everyone's just chilling back. He's like, this mother effer made fun of how the way I parked. And I was like, what? I was like, bro, what are you doing? He's like, no, I'm going to go outside. And my brother, we went outside, bro. We went outside. Well, I'm not even kidding. And I was like, I was super high. I was like, oh no, this is a bad trip. I was having a bad trip. As I was walking out, I could literally feel like my muscles like sobering up. I'm like, dude, something's going to happen. And he's like, dude, just go back in the house. Go back in the house. I'm like, nah, bro. Yeah, I was like, Johnny, don't do it. Don't do it, fool. You're gonna regret it. And he's like, nah, bro. So we confront the dude, And luckily nothing happened. Luckily the dude was like, oh man, no, we're cool, man. He super broke it down. He's like, no, bro, because that guy even knew, And he was like, oh man, no, I wasn't laughing at you, but clearly he was laughing, And that was one of the incidents like that could have went way south.
Yeah, because if I did that, let's say, but what I was gonna do, then I wouldn't be here probably, right? And then so like just not little, but things like this really, really like he stopped me a lot, during that moment, and also God through him was able to give him that provision, like, bro, just chill.
For real.
Like what is it about? Like that fool, he laughed at you, and I was like, yeah, he did, and I cocked it, and I remember walking out. And then the thing about me that's evil is that I didn't flash it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I want him to like step on me or say something. And then, but he didn't,
Sheesh.
like so, normal people would.
Yeah, I wish you would.
Yeah. But I didn't say anything. I was like, yeah, so are you laughing at me? Like, and I was waiting for him to go boom. And I played it in my head. Like if my brother saw, he would have saw me smoke this guy right there.
Yeah.
And my brother came. That's why I was telling him, just stay inside, because I already made it up in my mind what I was gonna do.
Yeah.
But
Premeditated early.
Yeah. And then he was like, and then I was like, dude, over what though? And that's how broken we were, because we're impulsive. Now, obviously, very shameful to share that story, but my brother's being honest, you know, and it's real. Like, and I went from that to like what I am now, and that's what my brother says. What he says is like, it's kind of crazy to see Johnny, you know, like being so. I was just very impulsive. I couldn't. That's the best way to explain it. I'll just blow up over anything. My brother would tell you many times where I look like I'm chill, and then boom, I'll just blow up.
He's a kleptomaniac, bro. He's like a volcano just waiting to explode, bro. Like for real, man. Like you're just like, you know, and it's over like crazy stuff too. It's not even like it, like in the sense it's not valid, but to his mind it's like it's valid.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blow up.
That's so crazy to me, because one of the things that you were talking about was you kind of feel like you maybe let him down as an older brother, or maybe something you regret was maybe not being able to be a role model. But now, is it interesting for you to hear that you actually were a role model to him the entire time?
That's an interesting fact, brother. But I mean, during those times, I didn't see that far. You know, I didn't foresee that. True. But you know what? You're right. Yeah. So I feel like I did, but I could have did more. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always this is not enough for me. You know, I could perform better. I have to do better.
I feel like everybody has that aspect in some version of their life. Like, I wish I spent more time with my parents, or wish I called my friends more often. And it's just the shoulda, woulda, coulda. And at the end of the day, like it worked out exactly how it needed to be.
Hey, so. Amen to that, man. Amen to that.
We're really like the byproducts of grace. When I look at my brother too, to be able to see him, because he was full-fledged. I mean, I don't know, like, this is nothing to boast about, but we really wanted to be that. You know, my brother, like, really wanted to be, like, a straight-up gangbanger, and me too. And to go from that to be, like, having conversations on podcasts, even now, is kind of mind-blowing to see my brother on the pod. My brother, just 5 years ago, he would be like, why are you on the camera? Like, it would be like that. You know, my brother was politicking. He's a nice guy, but he was full-fledged. No, you don't do this. But also God changed his heart, changed my heart the same way. And it all came from actually my mom, seeing my mom change, and then him seeing me change, and then him changing, and then my dad changing, you know? So it was just very beautiful to be able to see like how God really works. And what I want to say is like that same God that helped us can help everybody else too.
Amen.
Like if we're literally the worst of the, which we were, like I'm not even trying to say it in a nice, like, you know, boasting way. We were really like bad. You know, we turned our dad's dream, American dream, literally to an American nightmare. Like my dad was fit. He was like, even though he drank and stuff, he was functional.
Bars.
He was, you know, 40 something years old, had a 6-pack, full head of hair. And then with us, he just like, we stressed him out a lot too. Because I knew now that he had a lot of guilt. Like, dang, I messed up my kids.
Yeah.
I beat them too much. I couldn't handle my
I should
drink.
never came to America.
I should have never came to America. You know, like, man, James wouldn't be in a gang. Johnny wouldn't be in a gang, whatever. But now I'm always like, how is it, Dad? And my dad's 70 now. And he's like, I'm so thankful. Like, you guys are changed. He talks about my brother all the time. And that's one thing, too. Like, my brother has a daughter now. You know, I'm an uncle. Like, so to go from, like, all that trauma and having a dysfunctional family, and then to now having a functional family, it's so much. There's so much gratitude in that. You can't be like not be thankful. You know.
God willing. God willing.
Yeah. And if you guys like questions like this, we do a free live event called After Service, where we do sermons, live Q&As, and fellowship. To RSVP for a city near you, text afters to the number below. See you guys there.
Was there anything that Johnny doesn't know he's done that may have saved your life?
Yeah, man. One thing in particular is, you know, getting close with, you know, Pastor Kim and the church, man, and leading me to the gospel. Because I'll tell you right now, the way we're living, man, it was very hectic. And thank God he was called upon, you know. Yeah. So that actually saved my life. You know, that opened my eyes to being like, man, I don't have to live with guilt. I don't have to live with, you know, this poison, this turmoil, you know. I could be righteous. I could be holy.
Did you know that?
No, No, not really. I mean, I knew like I impacted him, but I didn't know that that was the direct reason why he came to church. I just thought because he was seeking and searching. But basically, what he's saying is he saw me change, and that motivated him. Yeah, it's because of me. Yeah.
And then Johnny, is there anything James has done that he may not know has saved your life?
I think you know, him being like a good role model now with the youngsters, with his daughter, with, you know, his girl.
Tell him.
Like, yeah, like you, bro, for real, bro.
Thank you.
And how you treat mom and dad too is kind of wild. My brother, I'm not good at birthdays. I'm not good at like remembering names and stuff, right? He met you guys once and he like knows you guys. He's very compassionate in that way, and like a lot of the times I think just me competing with that, he's changed me to be like, dang, I gotta be a little bit more compassionate. There are people that my brother knows that don't like me, right? And my brother's always teaching me at times, like at least, especially early on in my walk, where he was like, bro, just be cool with them, because I was still crashing out a little bit. I was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I would still carry a gun and go to church, like so. He would tell me like, Johnny, you know, although this guy's talking about you, like he's not saying it to your face. You know, he'd say little things like that. Mm-hmm. Where in my mind I was already plotting, like, all right, when I see this guy, I'm gonna do this. Until this day, you know, my brother, if we see enemies, there's times where we're eating, and then we'll see an enemy walk in, and then he'll look at me like to make sure, like, are you
what you gonna do?
Yeah, like, and then I'm just here smiling, you know. And obviously now my brother's more like, he knows that I'm not like that anymore. But like that has changed me to recognize like, dang, bro, like the way you treat people, the way you do try to think for people, it kind of motivates me also on top of the Christianity stuff to be like, dang, I need to really start thinking about people. You know, I'll make fun of people. My brother will be like, everyone will be laughing. My brother's the only one who'll be like, Johnny, man, like what if they said that to you? You know, like it's these little breaking systems, believe it or not, that are like, wow, how can he do that? But he's always had that. He's always had that as a kid. For example, I'll share this story. It's very touching, right? When I was young, I think I was 4 or 5 years old. You were like 5 or 6. I remember him coming home and he presented the idea of Santa Claus to me. He's like, oh, there's a guy named Santa Claus and blah, 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 blah.
True story, guys. Tune in.
And then he was like, oh, we just have to give milk and cookies and we have to wait for Santa Claus and he's going to come down the chimney and whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, you make a list, Johnny, and you leave it here, and then he's going to give you whatever you want. So I was like, I want Power Ranger and Pogs and blah, blah, right? I was like doing all this. And then I left it there, and we were like, he was like telling me we should wait to see like if he's going to come. So we're like staying up. I think it was like midnight already. I was like, oh, and I just knock out. My brother knocks out. When we wake up, we're devastated. At least I was. He was too. I was like, dude, the cookies, whatever, like they're still there. Nothing was moved. Like, what the heck? So I immediately got angry. I was like, man, why you lie to me, man? Like I was like getting mad at my brother. You know, you lie, man. And then my brother was like, I saw his face, like he was tearing up, and he's like, and I was like, man, I want like this, I want that. I don't even get any gifts, man. That's a blah blah. And it's like basically going in on my brother. He just walks off. I'm like, all right, he walks off, whatever. So he walks off, and then he walks up to me with his hands behind his back, like, Johnny boy. He was like, call me Johnny boy. And I was like, what? And I was like, you know, in my leg, like my little phase, right? He comes over, and then he's like, Santa got us something. He got you something. And I was like, oh, really? And then he pulls out like this square looking thing. It's literally super Jimmy rigged. It's like a newspaper. So there's a Chinese newspaper called Sijie Ribao, right?
Yeah.
And then he wraps it up, and then it's like taped up, and he draws a bow. It's like a cricket bow, and he puts 4RM, right? 4RM. And then he puts my name. And then he switched the from Santa, from Johnny to Santa, basically, you know? So I remember that. And then my brother, like, you know, I was shocked. I was like, dude, why is he doing this? Like, and I didn't understand it. Now, obviously, I get emotional. I got emotional when I told this, and he gets emotional too. Is like, bro, he realizes, like, I realized, like, my brother really cared about me. Even from that young age, before all the trauma that we had, before dad beating on us, before my brother joining a gang, that was my brother's heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was always like, I love you, Johnny. Like, but I never like understood that. I was always like thinking about myself. But my brother, I think God has graced my brother with the heart to always see the good in people, which is crazy. You know, you think about it. He's devastated. 6 years old. He's about to cry. I was mad. He would get emotional. And he's like, oh, and at that moment, to make an executive decision at 6 years old to go, my brother needs to be happier than me right now, was crazy. So that's something that I was always thankful for. And I knew that about my brother.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy because bro also just wanted Santa. Like people
Yeah.
don't think
Yeah,
about
that's what
that.
I'm
Like
saying.
he was also just expecting presents that day, and in an instant had to let that go and be there for you, which is very crazy.
Hey, Johnny, don't be tear jerking, man.
Yeah.
I think that's a good ending.
Earlier we were talking about how it's almost like the dream scenario, right? Like you guys grew up, how you grew up. We're hearing your story, and you guys didn't even know if you'd make it to tomorrow, right? What would you say to someone that's listening to the audio here, watching the video, and they're like, well, that's Johnny Chang, right? Or, with your guys' story, that can't happen for me. Because what would you say to someone that might be looking at it from that perspective?
I would say that honestly, anything is possible. I always use this quote, but it's true. You can't put a period where God puts a comma, right? So I didn't know I was going to make it out. And I had the same mindset. So I would say I understand. I think between me and my brother, we understand more of what hopelessness really is. And that comes from a position, and it's almost a trauma response of like, there's no hope. Trust me, we were there when I was 12 years old and I was watching people getting, beat up and all kinds of crazy stuff in YA. My brother's seeing riots, sharing these vulnerable stories. I would never have thought that we could ever be grown men being vulnerable, because in our eyes, men we're not vulnerable. We have to not share anything. We have to be hardened. And I think we're living proof of that. And the funny thing is, we didn't have to believe. So just like the person who's watching, you don't have to believe. God is going to show you.
Amen.
And that's what I truly believe. So, we'll believe for you. We'll pray for whoever it is here. And if you guys want, you guys can find communities with us. You don't have to, but we were never here like, you know what, we're going to paint this and we're going to do that. We didn't believe. And guess what? God still worked. So you don't have to believe. If you think you have to, if you think God has to prove something to you, you don't have to worry about that. We're truly living proof of this.
Amen.
Bar.
It's a bar. Yeah. So I'm going to pick you up, back up for him, like if it's to the young man or the young individual, I always thought strength and honor first, So always be, straightforward and put your best foot forward. That's wrong. Put God's foot forward first.
Amen.
Listen to God. Try to abide by his teachings. Just try, man. What do you got to lose? You're sitting there, and you're having self-guilt or you're depressed. You know what? God is the antidote for that. Just try, man. Just believe, That's all I have to say.
Amen.
All right, we got some questions for James from the audience.
All right.
So Janny wants to know, what is your favorite childhood memory with Johnny?
Oh, man. I would say around the time where Johnny wanted to be a rapper, man. Johnny was a rapper, man. I'll tell you right now, he got bars. So I remember he came into my room and he was like, "Hey, bro, check this out. I got a rap, bro." I was like, "What?"
Yeah, the freestyling.
The freestyle, remember? And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, "Man, you ain't no rapper, man. You whack, you right?" And then I'm like, "No, give him a chance." So he started rapping, spitting bars. And I'm just like, dang, he's really actually good, man. I'm a harsh judgment on my brother too, especially when we were like 10, 11 years old, Yeah. And I was like, dang, that was one of my most fun, because the way that I felt was like, damn, he asked someone's opinion that really truly cared and that would give it to him raw.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That would give it to him
Real.
the cold truth. And I'm like, damn, he sees me as that. So that's one of my most fondest memories from my brother. Yeah, I would say that would be it.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
Look out for the Johnny Chang studio album 2026. It's going to happen.
Bro, I'm telling you, you guys have no idea, man.
It's happening.
Pay him 10,000, $10.
And then on that topic, Johnny, what's your favorite childhood memory with James?
So I was a kleptomaniac. I stole a lot. And what I would do is I would borrow things, but it was So we left out the projects. There was like a liquor store, not a liquor store, it was Super A or something like that around that. I remember it was a store. And I would ride this kid's tricycle.
The bicycle, yeah.
And we would like ride over, and because I was lazy, I don't want to walk that far, so I would steal it, run over there. I think I was 6 years old at this time, maybe 7. Ride over, and then my brother would come with me, and then he was like, "No, Johnny, we can't do that." You know, I was like, "Dude, I'm gonna bring it back," and he's like, "Okay." So I've stole many times from this place, like 20 times. I'd take the bike, bring it back, take the bike, bring it back. This particular time, my brother's with me. We go. I take it. We go. We get our little candies. We steal our candies. So I would steal a bike to go steal other stuff. Come back. When I came back, dude, this lady, it was a Hispanic family. She was like a ninja. She was like Viet Cong in the tree, like this. And she, seriously, she hopped out like,
For real.
"Ah," she grabbed my brother, because my brother was walking like, I actually sent my brother to return the bike back, right?
Klepto.
Yeah. And so he takes the bike, and then boom, she grabs him. So I'm over here like, punch her, bite her, kick her, jam her, bite her. What? My brother just looks at me. "No, I can't." I remember she's holding him tough, like hard. And then she's like, "No, you're stealing to my brother." And I was like, "Bro," and I was like, "Run, bro," because it was running, and her other, like her kid or whoever was running, trying to run after me. So I remember just taking off. I left my brother there. The cops come, everything, right? I'm not there, obviously. My mom and I got my ass whooped by my dad for this. But the cops come and they go, "He's such a good kid. Like, he's like saying everything, but he won't say who stole." The other one was like, "I think it's his little brother." And then my brother was like, no, it wasn't. And they couldn't prove it. They thought it was like his friend. But like, they would ask, they really threatened my brother. "If you don't tell me, you're going to go to juvenile hall." My brother's like 8 years old, 7, 8 years old. He's like, I don't know. No, it wasn't me. It wasn't anyone. It wasn't like, he didn't snitch, bro. He didn't snitch. And so he came home, and I remember he was shook. Like, my mom said he was shook. And she's like, "You're a piece of garbage, kid." My dad, too, he's like, "I'm going to beat you up." He beat me up. He said, "How could you let your own brother," like, first off, you left him there. You masterminded the plan. Like, you know what I mean? And you're just a piece of garbage, basically, right? So, but my brother never actually, like, folded. Even though, think about that. Like, you're scared. As you're a kid, that's the one thing they scare you with is, "I'm going to call the police on you." You're like, "No," right? But he was in front of the cops, full uniform. And they're like, "If you tell us, you'll get off. Tell us who it is. It's your little brother, right? Just tell us where he is, who did it," because he does this all the time. Because I would steal. And my brother's like, no. And he was taking basically penitentiary chances, juvenile hall chances at the age of 7 and 8 years old. And I was like, damn, that goes to show like his heart. You get what I'm saying? Wow. He was like, "Dude, I'll go if I have to."
10 toes.
10 toes.
10
for
toes.
real.
I tried, man. Wow. Or at least 5. At least 1 foot. You know? At least 1 foot.
Go give him half down. That's
So
funny.
yeah.
We can wrap it up on this. Now we're at the end here of a full podcast with you and your brother. I guess just I wanted to ask you both, are you guys grateful for your relationship today and how far you guys have come?
I love you, but sometimes, no, never mind. I love you, bro. Yeah, I'm great. I'm definitely grateful, man. And again, glory to God, man. You know what I'm saying? Glory to God and Jesus Christ. You know, it's a true hallelujah, man, that we're here today and we could be on the same couch and not, you know, hate each other, you know, and you know, dig into our turmoils, our resentment, you know. But we're here on, you know, literally the chance of God.
Yeah.
You know, and we're grateful, man. Like, I give it to you, little bite. You did great, man. You're up and up, you know, and it's because of Jesus Christ, you know. Amen. But yeah, I'm very grateful for our relationship, our family. We have a beautiful family, man. We have a beautiful family, you know.
I'm grateful, bro. I'm very thankful. I feel like I'm very lucky to have you as a brother.
You better.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I genuinely am thankful to see your change and your growth too. To be able to just see, like, bro, like, where we came from. You know, we know there's so many things we didn't share, and we've been through a lot, bro.
Yeah.
The depression, the loneliness, the prison term. Like, bro, you've always been like the beacon. You know, you've always wanted a family. God bless you with the family.
Yeah, of course.
We've been through a lot of compounded trauma, but I'm proud of you that you were able to overcome that, you know, and be able to listen to your younger brother, bro, of all people, who you knew was like not a trustworthy person, liar, manipulator, but to be able to see God inside of my heart, I think that's what I'm most grateful for of you. Is like you always tell me the same thing, even till this day, Johnny. Keep on the path, bro. We got so much things to lose right now. Like for you to say that to me, you don't recognize, like it makes me think like deeply. Like, dang, I live also for my brother. You know, I live also for mom. I live also for dad.
Yeah.
But for the most people, like, and I'm not trying to be mean to core of the heart of anybody else. Like, I want to support you in any way I can. So that's why, like, I'm doing this for us.
Let's do it. Let's get it, man.
Yeah.
You know,
So
on Third Oceanside Group, bro. We got to do this. You know what I'm saying? This is our hood, man. This is what we do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if we could bring some people up with us, you know, definitely the Koth family. Thank you guys so much, man. You guys are beyond awesome, man. Each and every one of you, man. Definitely thank you for the support, you know, and man, just the prayers that you guys give us, it means a lot, you know, and thanks again for always supporting this guy right here, even though I'm the better looking brother, okay? I'm just kidding. But thank you guys. I'm most grateful. God bless all you, your family, and your heart.
Thank you. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Pretty much wraps up our whole episode. If you guys want to see more of my brother, please comment, guys. If you guys love this type of wholesome, you know, podcast, I really do think that my brother really appreciates you guys, as he says. So this was more about a little bit different, but we're going to start having more guests. So if you guys want to see certain guests, tag them in the comments. But yeah, that wraps it up for Unlearned Wisdom, episode 6. Appreciate you guys.